Hey guys, Sledgehammer70 here. I am here and I'm going to show you guys how to install a front splitter on the front of this bad boy. I know a lot of people have posted instructions or pictures of their cars done, but I'm going to show you how to put this splitter on without a jack, without a lift. You can do it right in your garage with a couple tools. So here we go. Okay, tools needed for this job. You will need a rivet gun, automatic, whatever. Pick this up at Home Depot for... This is an expensive one, $19.99, but I think they have them for like 10 bucks. So you'll need one of these if you don't have one. The bolts on the bottom, this is, what is this? Good Lord. This is a socket, 9/32 socket. That's what fits these bolts. I think these might be metric, but the 9/32 works. Here's your rivets that come in the package. Here's the 12 screws to mount it. And here's the alcohol pad. You can use this one, or if you're like any shop guy, you have I think alcohol or pads in your house. So and then I have a little ratchet gun. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure if you had a handheld drill with a socket on there, that would work just as well. But my drill is too big to fit underneath the car if it's not on stands or a jack. But I'm going to show you guys how to do this without it being on there. So those are the tools needed. Now let's get to it. Step one is going to be removing all of these bolts across the front. So there's 8 bolts in the front. You can see I've already started taking them off. I put one in here. And then there's 2 bolts on the back side of this air deflector, which makes 12 bolts in total across the front. So there's 2 on this side that you can't see right now, the 8 across the front, and then the 2 on the other deflector over there. So once those are moved, at that point, then that's when I'm actually gonna alcohol pad the front where the sticky tape sticks, and then get the new bolts and line up the new splitter. I now have all the bolts out in the front, as you can see. Very nice big pile of bolts right there. But now I have the splitter laying down in front of the vehicle and semi-aligned. You can see on the inside of the splitter there's red tape. That red tape conceals sticky stuff that helps mount the splitter to the front of the car. Where those contact mounts are is where you're gonna rub with the alcohol pads. So the best thing to do is hold the splitter up and see where those are contacting the car, and then use your alcohol pads to rub it all down. It's very important that you make sure all aspects of the front of the car are clean, because if not, it's not going to stick right, it's not going to be installed right, and you're going to be very unhappy with the outcome. So even with the bolts going back in and holding it in place, you still need to make sure that sticky stuff is sticking and holding in place. So next up, alcohol wiping and then getting it mounted. At this point in the build, I definitely recommend having a second set of hands. You could do it by yourself, but in general, it's pretty hard to hold this thing balanced because you want to install it from the center out. So if you start on this side and start peeling the red tape off, you can start on that side and go and have the other person hold that side and just keep it straight. But you want to make sure it's aligned and sitting perfect. So, I mean, you can see I can hold this with one hand and line it up. It's a little hard to line up with one hand, but then you just start peeling the tape. So I'm gonna try to mount this so you guys can actually see how this all works out. Okay, so I put the splitter in, and I actually have both air deflectors on both sides holding it in place. Here we go. So you can see it's basically held up. So sliding it in place, and I'm actually gonna put 1 or 2 screws in to hold it in place. If I can actually find the screw hole. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think you'll be able to take the tape off by doing that.
Did you leave a tab sticking up?
Yeah, there's a tab on this side. So, grabbing the red tape, Okay. Those bad boys installed on there. So the hardest screws to put back on were definitely the ones where the air deflector is right there. Now the reason being is, in my instance, the holes didn't line up perfectly, so I had to do some jiggling and whatnot of the final 2 screws on both the left and right side and got it to mount. So it wasn't the easiest, but it got in. And not being on a lift or jacked up, I definitely had fun with my arm and shoulders, like blood flowing out of them. But there you go. Now it's time for the pop rivets. So, time to drill the holes for the rivets. Hopefully you can see this, but there's already pre-defined like pocket holes for where the rivets are going to go. They are at a little bit of an angle back. My only thought is why are these rivets needed? The instructions definitely outline that you have to install them. I'm pretty sure from their wind tunnel testing it showed that they need the extra support there, as once you hit to higher speeds, they need something more than just the screws that are mounted on the back side and more, more power up in the front. So there's 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4. You drill a 4mm bit in, and then you put your rivets in. So I'm gonna drill the holes out and then record putting the rivets in. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. There's 1 rivet, 2 rivet, 3 rivet, and 4. There you go. All done, installed. Unfortunately, I will say, not having the car on the jack stand or on a lift makes the riveting part a little hard, especially if you have a big rivet to it like I do. Made it a little hard to get the full grip, so and the angle. I kind of even bent the tip of the rivet thing as I was pulling it through, but I kept it flush up against the thing and it went all the way in, and I'm done. So 4 rivets, 12 screws, some sticky tape. That is the front splitter on a 2016 Camaro 2SS. Clean. Thanks for tuning in, and as I do more mods, I will make sure to do some videos. Hopefully it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below, and hopefully you find it as easy as I did. See you guys.